Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Group Captain Ralph Kettle. We warmly welcome the family of Private Clarence Percival Down, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return in Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Club Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Clarence Percival Down. Clarence Down was born on the 1st of November 1879 in Scottsdale, Tasmania. He was the youngest of 9 children born to Ambrose Down and his wife Elizabeth Medhurst Newman. The family remained in Tasmania throughout Clarence's childhood. He likely attended the nearby public school where he was a member of the cadets. After finishing school, he found work as a labourer, possibly moving to the Cornwall region of Tasmania as he joined the area's voluntary infantry in 1897. Clarence left the voluntary infantry in 1899 and moved to Launceston. There he met local woman Louisa Perham. The couple married in November 1900, a month after the birth of Louisa's daughter, Thelma. The small family remained in Tasmania until around 1909, when they moved to Melbourne so Clarence could find work. Clarence enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 20th of April 1916. By this stage, he was living separately from his wife and Thelma, though he still listed Louisa as his next of kin. Both Clarence's parents had died years earlier, and it's unknown if he kept up relationships with the rest of his siblings. Clarence was allotted to the 15th Reinforcements of the 23rd Australian Infantry Battalion with the rank of private, and commenced his initial training in camp at Broadmeadows. After 5 months of training, Private Clarence Down departed Melbourne in HMAT Shropshire on the 25th of September 1916, bound for England. Clarence arrived in England in November and spent a month training in camp before proceeding overseas to France in mid-December. He joined the 23rd Battalion at Flesselles, just outside Amiens, and passed a bitter winter on the Western Front. After the relative quiet of winter, the German army's retreat to the Hindenburg Line in the spring of 1917 launched the Australian forces into action once again. By mid-March, the 23rd Battalion were enmeshed in bitter fighting around Norey in northern France. Alternating between the front line and the vanguard, the battalion steadily advanced on their objectives before being ordered to help capture Norey early in the morning of the 20th of March. The enemy held their defensive position, resulting in heavy casualties before the battalion established their own defensive lines outside the town. The Germans' defence trapped many men of the battalion under heavy artillery fire in broad daylight. By the end of the fighting, the battalion had sustained 117 casualties, including 30 men missing in action. One of the missing was Private Clarence Down. Wounded by shrapnel in the abdomen and leg, he was captured by German forces and moved east to the German field hospital at Hem-Lenglet. Over the next 6 months, his family sought news of Clarence's fate from base records and the Red Cross Wounded and Missing Bureau. Finally, in September 1917, Red Cross and German sources confirmed that Private Clarence Percival Down had died of his wounds at Hem-Lenglet on the 23rd of March 1917. He was 36 years old. Following his death, Clarence was buried at Hem-Lenglet Communal Cemetery in northern France by the Germans. After the war, an Imperial War Graves headstone was raised over his final resting place. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Clarence Percival Down, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.